Hello, everyone. I all hope you had a very, very wonderful, great morning indeed, guys, and a very, very blessed morning indeed, guys. As you can see, guys, today is extremely quietly, superly hot, as you can actually see for yourself as well, guys. Despite that, guys, I'm very quietly actually sorry for actually shooting this late. I was actually busy giving my dog some sort of fresh air, and also was quietly walking her around as well, and also trying to get my head also back in the game as well. As you can see, guys, was quietly very much of a quiet of a few 1 week in order to be out of shooting and writing the new stories, the writing the new and old characters, which my mind is still also trying to reprocess itself again as well. But nevertheless, guys, I'm so superly grateful as well for your guys' support in subscribing, and also liking my episodes and my videos from TikTok, shorts, long videos, and from those of you who are also subscribing as well from YouTube and from TikTok. It quietly, gratefully means a lot to me, as it literally completely means a lot to me as well, guys. And one more thing, guys, I'm very quietly sorry for yesterday's debacle with the loud noises and everything with the gardening people. Literally not literally was not the best cool one, because I had so much more to say on that episode. But regardless of that, guys, I'll continue to actually telling you more about the mysterious supervillains and more powerful new superheroes and ancient godlike beings and dreadfully monstrous creatures, thousands and many new characters and many old and new characters and supervillains I'm about to exactly add on the book, and other books are still coming, guys. So there's much more and billions more that are literally coming. But regardless of that, guys, on today you'll receive today's episode from those of you who are actually watching TikTok, and from those of you who are actually watching Sword. After that, I won't be able to upload the whole episode from the whole episode to YouTube. I'll upload it on Monday. That is when the rest of you guys who are also watching the long videos on YouTube will receive the long video on Monday, which I'll be able to upload it on Monday first thing when I exactly wake up before I prepare for the next one. So regardless of that, guys, have a blessed weekend and a great weekend. I will see you on Monday. Let's exactly begin. On today's episode, we're to speak about Power Face, who is a sinister, supernatural villain and a very dreaded, deadful, and a very deadly, dreaded, sinister force of evil, and a high-ranking member of an ancient, shadowy criminal organization known as Sacred Five, which is an ancient secret society that was quietly formed and founded by Icewall many centuries ago, and especially during the ancient times as well. Sacred Five's sole goal and purpose and mission is to destroy worlds, planets, and civilization, and also in a process to conquering them, and by placing them under their sole control and under their sole influence as well. That by doing so is by turning worlds and planets into ice worlds and planets and civilization, which the founder and leader is an ancient, powerful protege and a successor of the original Lord of Magic, who is Iceworld, who I previously actually told you about. He's on YouTube. You can actually look him up and you'll find him there as well. Despite that, guys, Powerface gratefully believes in the organization's goals, mission, and philosophy, and its true status quo in making sure that their members, who are very powerful, sinister criminals, also remain in power and in control over the sacred war. But regardless of that, Powerface has his own obligation and his own desire and his own goals for himself and for the organization that he decided to pursue, and also to begin furthering for himself and for the organization's purpose and goal in a long-term plan. Sacred Five is a shadowy, elite criminal organization. It is unknown. Is it literally totally unknown to sacred history? That is why Icewall exactly manages to conceal the secret society, the ancient secret society, away from sacred history in order to keep it in order to conceal its members and its powerful associate from the shadows of the sacred universe, so they can continue operating without suspicion, so that no one or any formation hunter, superhero, or any type of superhero or any type of powerful competitor organization of supervillains won't be able to know exactly that they are literally competing with one of their greatest top powerful competitors known as Sacred Five as well. And Power Face literally, as I told you before, believes and solely believes in the organization's goals and mission, and is willing to make sure they bear fruit no matter what, no matter what. So let's exactly continue. In Powerface's early life, he was quietly imprisoned. He was quietly imprisonment. He was quietly put in imprisonment, stasis, hibernation, stasis, sleeping pod within an ancient hideout where one of the most dreaded, powerful, evil, sinister Phoenician hunters and vampires were experimenting with one of their own kind and one of their own species in order to see if one of their races and their kind will become one of the most powerful, deadliest hybrids ever made. Do because they were quietly afraid and they were quietly afraid and well aware that Valak, Hellfire, and the original Lord of Magic were trying to exterminate them. That is why they had to go to push to shove in order to experiment on one of these creatures. During which on those middle centuries and times, Powerface was quietly experimented with vampire blood and with Formation Hunter blood, which actually changed his appearances, his face and his look, and his actual face began showing fangs of teeth, and his eyes began appearing reddish and literally reddish, and his ears began changing like a bat that has great loud that has the power of literally that has a power of great super hearing and all of its abilities, which was able to adapt and evolve mysteriously as the great associate of the vampires and Formation Hunters, who are the one of the most deadliest and rogues, evil members of their kind and of their species, began exactly realizing that Formation Hunter blood that is quietly originated from godlike blood DNA and from the founders' DNA, and also vampire blood that also comes from the original founders of the vampire founders' DNA, can actually create a powerful genetic hybrid of the two species, and that they were very quietly amazed that one of their own very first test subject has begun to adapt and very much gratefully become a very powerful weapon and a deadly supernatural weapon. To which during on those times, the hideouts were quietly specifically being raided by the light hunters, who exactly began their mission to trying to stopping the rogue evil shadow empire from conquering and from finalizing the experiments and from finalizing the experiments and facilitating the darkest experiments and weapons that the dark druids and dark witches and Amber, the goddess of power, the witch of power, who is the advisor of the original Lord of Magic, began experimenting with shadow energy and with all types of cosmic substance, with all types of cosmic energies of substance, such as wild energy, pink energy, red energy, dark magic, greater yellow energy, sun energy, magic, all these ancient energies that I've actually told you guys. Some I've quietly mentioned to you on the previous episodes are very, very rare substance, and some are very rare ancient cosmic energies and also greater power sources of great power. Despite that, the Light Hunters raided the hideout, literally took almost everything, fought against the war, against the very allies and members of their own kind, who are the Formation Hunters, who are also reviewed as brothers and sisters to them as well. But they were forced to fighting them, and they were forced to fight against the vampire allies who also colluded with the Formation Hunters, and they began to discover that there are sinister groups of vampires and of Formation Hunters who are secretly collaborating with each other as well. During which, on that time of the raid of the hideout, they actually began to discover that these sinister evil associates were conducting dark and very powerful experiments, which created nothing but abominations of freakable nature. And they decided to take these cryogenic freeze pod somewhere far away, that where no one won't be able to discover them. Over the following years and centuries, Powerface remained in a very different hideout, that's quietly beneath the caves of a dark, shadowy island, which is quietly its locational base of operation. It's quietly unknown, but it's quietly in the middle of the ocean, and those stasis pods are like thousands, meaning billions of those stasis pods contain supernatural creatures, monsters. Some are women, some are girls, some are babies, and others of them are highly adapting and growing and also highly evolving in the cryogenetic freeze pod as well. During which in those times, Powerface remained in the cryogenic freeze pod until he was able to regain his subconscious back and was able to exactly awaken from the cryogenic freeze pod and decided to come out and liberate himself out, which he used his super strength and his superpowers and his greater supernatural powers and his ability in order to break free from his imprisonment, which he was able to do so. Coming out from the cryostasis freeze pod, Powerface was completely, literally reluctant and shocked of himself as he looked into the mirror of the hideout and he looked at himself as he saw a monstrous look of appearance of himself, and he decided to take a very powerful, ancient, shadowy ring, which he actually put into his fingers, which he actually put into one of his fingers in order to communicate with one of the other secret shadowy forces that actually imprison him, to actually inform them and also to keep them informed and also to keep them informed and well known that he's quietly free from his imprisonment as well. Despite that, Powerface exactly decided to release the other creatures and beings that are quietly imprisoned in the cryogenic freeze pod, and he exactly told them together that he is now the great wiseful leader, and that together they'll begin a new clan and a new powerful species that is so determined that can conquer the rest of the known worlds and the rest of the known worlds and the rest of the sacred countries for themselves, as they all quietly agree, since they will all quietly test subjects and greater experiments, each one combined with their unique dark abilities and powers. They all accepted Powerface's leadership for him to be the one to lead them and to guide them, as each creature and being accepted to Powerface's proposal to joining forces with him. After they left from the hideout, they were never quietly seen through the following centuries and years, as they all exactly began to meet in a dark cave that is quietly an unknown base of location and operation, to beginning their plan and their proposition, as Powerface exactly told his followers and the rest of the members of his group that they managed to exactly conduct very powerful in the various battleships and battle cruisers and also airship fleets that are under their control, which they can also systematically use to place them under their total control as well. And Powerface was able to tell the members of his group that he's also managed to gather allies and also associates from the Shadow Empire warlords and commanders to repeatedly aid them on their respective mission. And his allies of the group and the members of the group were very, very completely systematically proud and very, very completely happy that they managed to gain progress to furthering their sinister plan. Throughout the many years, Powerface's group of sinister forces began wreaking large amount of havoc throughout the sacred countries, throughout the sacred great nations and countries of the sacred world, by literally destroying and waging war with the sacred great nations as the sacred consuls of each nation, of each sacred great nation and clan were forced to take immediate action to stopping this evil, gruesome threat from rising in power, as they realized that they were up against one of the most deadliest threats that they've ever seen throughout sacred history. In doing so, they were quietly well aware that these forces possess greater, powerful, genetic, new techniques and dark abilities that they've never ever seen before, as each being and creature was able to manipulate a very, very powerful technique of dark magic, manipulating the power of the elements, manipulating the power of the shadow and light energy power, and the power of conducting dark lightning and purple lightning, and the others with the power of teleportation, the others with the power of portaling, some with different abilities and with greater enhancement abilities. Others were vampires who can even survive throughout the daylight of the sun, who have literally become the day walkers, or rather day walkers after all, and they were quietly immune to all supernatural attacks to them, which have been granted the immunity power which have been easily been granted them due to them staying and living in the stasis cryogenic freeze pod. Powerface was exactly at the top of the battle at the top of the airship fleet, watching his forces wage battle with the great sacred countries of the supernatural clans and warriors and the supernatural clans and warriors and Phoenician hunters who were trying to exactly stop him from completing his sinister goal. And the Phoenician hunters began exactly arriving on top of the airship fleet, willing to challenge Powerface on a very, very competitive, with a very, very much of a competitive ancient combat duel that has been practiced throughout the ancient times by powerful ancient warriors who have been challenging each other on ancient combat duel. To this point, Powerface exactly accepted the duel with the Phoenician hunter as the two of them dueled on top of the airship fleet. Both of their powers were evenly matched as Powerface continued to fight up against the Phoenician hunter, to which the airship fleet began collapsing on the very mountains and rocks, on the very mountains and rocks, on the very mountains and rocks of the sacred great nations kingdoms, which it literally collapsed and fell and became destroyed throughout the battle, as well as the Phoenician hunter realized that Powerface is extremely a dangerous foe and a very, very very, very unwilling and unknown adversary that they've never faced before, due to him becoming extremely immortal and very resilient to his power. They fought and they continued to fight as Powerface demonstrated his powers and his abilities to the Phoenician hunters, to which the Phoenician hunter warrior wasn't unable to overcome, until backup of the light hunters and of the other creatures arrived to aid and abet the Phoenician hunter fighting up against Powerface. Powerface was completely defeated, as well as the forces of his group, and his dark army were completely demolished and defeated throughout the battle, and Powerface exactly saw to the Phoenician hunters and to the light hunters and to the warlocks, witches, druids, and to any of the allies that aided and abetted these, and to any allies that literally abetted and aided the Phoenician hunters and the light hunters to the battle, that he will soon return and that he will exactly complete his goal and his mission, as he exactly told them that he will be back one way or another. After that, he teleported away in a shadowy portal, which was able to conjure and vanish after that. The Phoenician hunters and the other creatures and beings realize that Powerface is now a powerful, sinister force of evil that can never be underestimated or undermined, especially now that they've seen his power and his abilities totally up close. They have agreed that they have to put it straightly throughout Sacred History's books. No, the other Phoenicians have agreed that they cannot put a powerful enemy's name throughout Sacred History's books. It will scare off many thousands of generations. It's best that he remains throughout the Sacred History's texts and archives and books, rather than to be put into total history, Satan, or rather to be put in straightly into Sacred History's books or anything else. But they should keep tabs of his followers and the rest of his ancient groups. And that Powerface has now been defeated, the rest of his followers will soon now come out from the shadows and from the woodwork to complete his work and his mission, and that this is just the beginning, as the Phoenician hunter warriors exactly said, as the light hunters and all the other allies agreed that it's time for them to actually agree that this is just might be the beginning of what's actually coming as well. Throughout the following years, Powerface exactly returned to his different headquarters of his secret hideout that was quietly composed of many containers containing shadow energy and powerful blood, a very powerful container of blood that was quietly flowing from the top, and other containers that are actually containing powerful, sinister substance of magic and of light energy and of blood energy and blood magic and all types. And there were powerful ancient greater statues of a dark witch and of a dark druid and of a very powerful, sinister, unknown vampire king or warlord or predecessor of the vampire race statue, which was quietly there as well. And there was also quite the ancient, powerful paintings of powerful ancient warlocks and druids and witches and vampires, all creating something greater or dangerous within the ancient caves that Powerface was quietly living under. To which, in that point, he was quietly actually approached by Icewall on that very time, and Icewall exactly told Powerface he was amazed and impressed with his power and with his determination and with his courage and with his convictions, with his mission and goal, and that he was willing to aid him with his goal and with his mission, since the two of them share a common interest and a common goal after all. Powerface was quietly skeptical of the mysterious figure that was quietly communicating with him from the shadows as he commanded the figure to reveal himself. Icewall exactly exposed himself to Powerface and revealed himself to Powerface as he came out from the shadows of the cave and exactly told Powerface that he too desires the same thing that he also desires as well, that they can become the sole rulers of the sacred universe, of the sacred world, and of the sacred universe, and of the sacred countries, and that he has created a powerful, sinister, ancient, shadowy criminal organization known as Sacred Five. To do that, he needs powerful friends such as Powerface and other powerful friends who are willing to join with him and aid him on his long-term plans of his goal, which he's began to facilitate during the very ancient times that he was able to exactly begin. Powerface exactly accepted this proposal with Icewall, realizing that this mysterious figure does exactly have the resources he actually doesn't have, and he also has the connections and influence due to his experiments by seeing his greater look and his appearance. He appears to be very much ancient. He appears to be very much quietly ancient and very powerful and very heavily experienced with the resources he was able to gain due to him living longer to his long gravity. To this point, Powerface accepted Icewall's proposition, and the two of them shook hands, and Icewall exactly told Powerface that together they are hereby partners and friends and also associate. And Icewall told Powerface that he is now a full member of Sacred Five, and that now they will work together on their common goal. And Powerface agreed on that as well. On the on the actual on the actual 15th of on the actual not on the actual 20th of February, the members of Icewall exactly were summoned through a video audience when one of the Shadow Empire warlord and commanders exactly summoned them all completely, but the other members of Sacred Five were able to conceal their identities through a very powerful shadowy obstruction of light of energy which literally exactly conceals their identities, as Powerface also was able to do the exact same thing from the Shadow Empire warlord as well. The Shadow Empire warlord exactly expressed his concerns and his revelation that the universal heroes do pose a greater threat to the members of Sacred Five and that they must be stopped and rather be killed one way or another. Icewall exactly reassured the Shadow Empire warlord that everything is going according to plan, the way it's supposed to be, and everything else will go the way it's supposed to be. Now that the Shadow Empire is hereby going further into chaos, and further into turmoil, and going in literally fighting its war against itself, they will soon benefit gratefully by its resources. And thanks to your fellow Shadow Empire warlords and commanders as well, who are able to benefit by helping them, their goal will now be up close, very much up close, as Icewall exactly stated to the Shadow Empire warlord. As the Shadow Empire warlord seemed quietly reassured as he told the members of Sacred Five that he asked them what's the next step of the plan, Powerface exactly told the member of the Shadow Empire warlord that the next step of the plan is to make sure that everything goes according to track the way it's supposed to be. They all quietly agreed on that as well. On the 29th of March, the water druid exactly attended a video audience with the members of Sacred Five on his secretive base, as he told the members of Sacred Five how disgracefully he lost all the supplies and technologies due to the interference of the universal founders and of the universal heroes working together, who managed to successfully intervene on their great supplies and their resources. Regardless of that, the Water Queen reassured the Water Druid and exactly told her that due to their partners' greater transportation portaling system, which is highly operational for them, they'll be able to receive more powerful, compatible, destructive, and highly advanced technology, which they'll be able to use to destroy the universal heroes once and for all and put an end to them completely. The water druid completely relishes as he smiled in an actual face. On the on the 15th of April, on the actual 15th of April, the members of Sacred Five, the members of Sacred Five were also exactly summoned into another video audience with another evil warlord who exactly told them that the planning and the baseful plan that the Intergalactic Coalition of the Four Nation Hunters managed to exactly halt the operation due to their constant thwarting and interference in all of that as well. Powerface was quite present in the video audience as he was able to as he was able to exactly still conceal his identity from the operative as well. Despite that, the members of Sacred Five exactly began to exactly reassure the concerns of the evil warlord, telling him that the preparations and plans are finally going to plan the way they're supposed to be, and that nothing can specifically intervene with them as well, and that all the preparations are set. They have to make sure that the plan goes according to plan, the way it was meant to be, as the evil warlord began to radishes as well, stating to the members of Sacred Five that he or however remain an associate and a very, very, very powerful, formidable associate and operative to the members of Sacred Five as well. On the actual 20th on the actual 20th of May, Powerface exactly met up with these followers and the previous members of his group in a very powerful dark cave. This time all of them were quietly face to face with one another, and this time Powerface was able to tell them that they have unlimited resources and greater resources for them to complete and finalize their plan that they began all those centuries ago and all those years ago. His followers exactly told him that the universal heroes and the Four Nation Hunters have become highly, highly adaptable and highly advanced now, especially with the prophesized child who has returned, known as the new universal man, who managed to kill the original Lord of Magic due to what the prophecy exactly stated. Despite that, Powerface wasn't exactly taken aback by the prophesied child or the new universal man who was exactly to be known to be the prophesied child. Despite that, he exactly told his followers that they will still proceed with the plan and with the actual plan that they're going with. Despite the followers' concerns, despite the followers showing their concerns to him, he didn't exactly allow that to bother him or to actually literally remove his confidence to taking down and to furthering his goal that he began all those centuries ago, regardless of what's exactly changed. Even now, in the modern century of the sacred universe and of the sacred world, he's still willing to proceed on with his objective as he told his followers. And despite of the outcome, he will remain victorious as he began to reassure them. On the actual on the actual on the actual 25 of June, Icewall exactly held up a video conference with the members of Sacred Five, and Powerface was quietly present as Icewall exactly began to tell the members of Sacred Five that the planning and preparations have begun going according to plan, that nothing can actually literally ruin it all completely, as they will soon begin to benefit their soul goals and their soul mission as well, for them to actually having more power and more control over many worlds and many civilizations as well, which means they should exactly focus on their true objectivity as well. As the other member of the organization began to exactly tell Icewall that the preparations and planning that they began to make all those time and all those years could exactly be ruined, and they could exactly become destructive due to the other powerful ancient shadowy criminal organization such as the Founders, the Order of the Five, the Order of the Six, the Order of the Seven, the Galactic, the Court of Nature as well, who are also to be proven to be too powerful and to be too dangerous not to be underestimated. Icewall exactly began to tell the members of Sacred Five that they can still use the universal heroes and the Intergalactic Coalition as pawns to further their long-term plan and their goal in a process which could be very, very, very fruitful for them to actually benefit as well in the long-term course of this war. Powerface completely relishes in a smile in the video audience as his face was able to, as all the members were able to reveal their faces except for their bodies, which can't exactly show, but all their faces were quite completely present in the video audience, as are all exactly completely happy with the proposition of the plan that's quietly beginning to taking place as well. On the 29th of July, Powerface was quietly back in his central headquarters, this time exactly conducting sinister experiments upon himself as well, as he began to literally adapt and become more powerful and more dangerous than ever before. His fangs began to grow literally systematically, very much literally systematically very much heavy than ever before, but they continue to grow lesser, stronger as they continue to systematically bear a toxin within its very, very own teeth, a very powerful poisonous toxin that is capable of neutralizing its targets in less than 15 minutes, enough for the creature or being to kill them or to either bite them, enough for the creature to literally kill them or rather bite them for less than an hour for them to completely turn enough. Despite that, Powerface was very completely happy that his body is adapting and it's been gaining new body and it's been gaining new body multiplications of its own since he was able to transfuse, since he was able to exactly receive a sacred transfusion of the sacred matter of the monsters of the dark dimensions mass body parts that are able to exactly to be attached to be that are able to actually to be literally attached to some part of his body parts as well, which was able to receive it as well due to him being powerful and to be invincible as well, which also explains why he's so powerful and so literally mysterious as well, and highly reluctant and highly resilient as well. Due to this, Powerface exactly was very happy with himself and with his body as well, until one of the dark druids exactly appeared from the back and told Powerface that they'll be very happy to serve him and his people and his group and his people and his clan and the members of Sacred Five as well. Due to this, Powerface exactly told the Dark Druid that they already have a group of powerful dark magic users at their disposal already, known as the Dark Seekers. As I previously told you guys, the Dark Seekers are now working for the shadowy criminal organization as powerful dark servants who are now under the leadership of Sacred Five and who have agreed to work for them and serve for them as well. Despite that, the Doctor also as well told Powerface that he can also become his greater servant only to him and only to the rest of his followers and to his group. Powerface exactly agreed with the Doctor due to knowing that these powerful dark magic users possess greater intimate dark knowledge and greater secrets that it could be very useful for him. He agrees that the Dark Witches and the Dark Druids and the Dark Faithful will remain only servants to him and to his group, but not to Sacred Five. The dark magic user accepted the terms of the deal as he exactly told Powerface that he will continue with his operation as well. After that, the Dark Druid completely disappeared from the central headquarters of Powerface's cave, and Powerface began exactly conducting or creating some sort of magical orb of a ball as he discovered that he has a power now of creating dark magic orbs at will through the energy and transfusion of the dark body and matter of the dark monsters of the dark dimension was able to receive. He seemed very happy that he can also watch his enemies through the dark magical orb that he was able to create in order to see exactly what they're planning from the very behind the scenes as well. On the actual on the actual 25 of August, Powerface exactly met up with these dark warriors and soldiers within the very same island that they were quietly exactly brought up to, and he exactly told them that he needs them to be highly trained and highly ready for what's to come. As the soldiers were completely able to agree, and Powerface exactly decided to put up his greatest protege to exactly take the lead in leading his group and his army under his professional guidance and leadership as well, which his protege's name was known as Second Face, which quietly relates to Powerface as well, regardless of that as well. Second Face quietly accepted Powerface's promotion to lead his group of deadliest and most powerful, brutal warriors and soldiers, as he literally agreed to train them and take them under his wing. and Powerface seemed very pleased with that as well. On the 15th of September, the members of Sacred Five began to reconvene on a very very powerful dark crystal ice temple, which its location, which its current location is quietly in a very very dark planet, in a very very dark magical planet and world that's quietly currently ruled by evil warlords and commanders, evil, powerful, sinister warlords and commanders would quietly would make it the best place for them to actually reconvene, because that world and that civilization is ruled by evil, dangerous criminals and those criminals and those warlords are very well affiliated and also very well associated with the most powerful groups of super villains and organizations as well. Despite that, the members of Sacred Five exactly reconvene on the ancient Crystal Ice Temple as they all exactly express their concerns about the heroes, about the universal heroes thwarting the operation and their long-term plans, as well as was able to tell that the universal heroes have grown too powerful and too dangerous for them to be fighting them head on one way or another, and that their forces and their soldiers can't exactly take a beating from each one of them as well. As Isol also began to exactly tell the members of Sacred Five that he's managed to tell them that their new partner, that their long-time partner, has also began to exactly supply them with endless destructive technology, as well as the other member began to reveal himself from the shadows of the temple and expressed his disgust and his greater anger and irritated due to the interference of the universal heroes and their allies thwarting their operations and their long-term plans, stated to them that they should have taken care of the problem and of the threat very quietly sooner rather than later as well. Despite that, the Water Queen was also able to tell the members of Sacred Five that fighting these heroes head on is going to be a huge big mistake. Whether to dispatch the forces and the operatives to deal with them when the time is right, they'll go head to head with them one way or another. Regardless of that, the members of Sacred Five began coming out from the shadows of the temple until Elderly Granny, which I actually previously told you about, guys, reveals herself from the shadows and begins to reassure the members of Sacred Five that she has a plan in place to take care of the universal heroes and of the universal founders, and she will deal with them accordingly, as she began to reassure the members of Sacred Five. Regardless of that, Powerface was present during the reassurance, as he was quietly on the other side with the other members, as they all exactly saw Elderly Granny stepped in from the shadows, coming out from the shadows and exactly approaching the light of the temple, and exactly began to reassure the members that she has a plan in place to take care of these evil, maniacal superhero teenagers and children, and that she's really crafted up a very bigger plan of her own that she's really kept up in mind regardless of that. On the actual 26th of October, Powerface exactly decided to take matters into his own hands, as he cannot exactly wait for Elderly Granny's plan to begin taking place. As he decided to take matters into his own hands, he was able to go back to his different headquarters of his base of operation, which was quietly in a volcanic island, which was quietly in a powerful volcanic island that was quietly surrounded by powerful, dreaded evil dragons and evil warlords and evil dragon warlords and commanders, as they were all exactly began to meet beneath the volcanic island, which houses a very powerful ancient volcanic temple, a very powerful ancient volcanic temple of an ancient century temple that is quietly old and very ancient, that bears the greater ancient metal statues of the previous dragon warriors and hunters who are able to tame and control them. And some statues actually contain supernatural dragons that have the ability and the power to transform into human form, as I actually previously told you before. Regardless of that, Powerface exactly met up with his other allies and exactly began to tell them that he's going to take matters into his own hands. One way or another, he's going to deal with the threat and he's going to begin with his long-term plan and goal. His allies exactly told him that he cannot underestimate the threat and the force he's about to be facing, as they continue to telling him that the universal heroes and the universal founders are too powerful for you to go head to head with them. We're making a big mistake in fighting up against them. Powerface exactly still told him that he will still proceed on with his long-term plans. He told him that he did not exactly plan this entire operation and his ancient machinations and as well as his ancient machinations and his goals in order for them to be stopped and halt for many, many centuries to come. He told them that he's still moving forward with them and that he's beginning the final preparations to go ahead on with the plan, one way or another. Regardless of that, the allies agreed to aid him and they have agreed to systematically supply him with an army of uncontrollable, burning, and disastrous dragons that are not literally tamed, and officially not uncontrollable as well. Powerface agreed that these creatures will be quite good because he needs powerful, deadly, supernatural creatures to wreak havoc and amount of destruction, which could be very, very beneficial to his plan as well. Regardless of that, they all agreed to supply him with the resources and with more soldiers and with more allies and dark followers to his sinister and machination long-term plan that he's been willing to proceed on and go ahead to act with it as well. On the actual 19th of November, Icewall exactly revealed himself from the dark crystal volcanic temple, which was another different base of an operation that Powerface was able to work on this time on his own. And Icewall exactly told him that he's making a big mistake in taking matters into his own hands, in fighting the forces of good that he is literally have never had the chance to fight, and that he cannot underestimate the persistence and the resilience that the other forces of evil have failed and have completely complained about their plans being completely ruined and jeopardized due to the interference of these heroes and their allies, that he will suffer the same way as they all did. Powerface exactly told Icewall that one way or another he is continuing with his objectivity and that he will see through the end one way or another. Despite that, Icewall exactly agreed that he will supply him with more resources and with more endless resources, and that despite that he still exactly wants to see his goal successfully bear fruit. If it'll also actually in the long-term plan benefit the organization's goals in the process, as well, as I previously said to you guys as well. Despite that, Powerface was quietly very surprised as he told his old friend that he's very grateful for his support, and he shook hands with him and told him that their partnership still remains the same no matter what. After that meeting on November, the two of them able to meet up. On December, Powerface and the rest of his forces kept quiet. They never exactly decided to attack or to take matters to their own hands, rather to keep low and rebuilding their armies. They've never said anything, or rather began taking anything, and they never seen until they heard news that the war between good and evil is still waging on, and it's still continuing to go on through the whole month of December as well, that they continue to able to exactly hear from. On the 25th of January, Powerface exactly attended a video audience with the members of Sacred Five, as he told them that he's going ahead with his plans now and that he expects nothing from total support, as Icewall and the other members began to tell Powerface that he must be careful not to underestimate the obstacle that will dare actually oppose him. Regardless of that, Icewall exactly agreed with the other members, who are very, very enlightened colleagues of his organization. Regardless of that, Powerface exactly thanked the members. After that, he completely disappeared from the monitor and began finalizing his plan once and for all. On the 26th of February, Powerface exactly created a holograms of all the countries, of all the sacred countries and worlds and planets and civilization that he wants his full army to go on to beginning laying waste towards it. And he exactly told them that they will all exactly begin to remain victorious. The entire army, guys, a huge entire army of dreadfully dark soldiers and warriors and knights and supernatural forces under his control. Beneath an ancient cave is where the army was quietly rooted and quietly hidden. Where there were only ancient about four statues of the previous predecessors of the Dark Sisters, were the most powerful Dark Witch, and of the Dark Seekers as well, which was on the other side of the cave, and the other one was on the other side of the cave. And the last two statues were the statues of the great origin, and the last statue was a great statue of the great goddess of death, which was Melinda, symbolizing the great goddess of death, which was very quietly well known towards the sacred universe as well. Regardless of that, the army began marching towards the airships and everything else, and began planning its crucial attack on other worlds. On the 26th of March, Powerface and the rest of his battle cruisers began invading and destroying worlds as they began the campaign in laying waste to thousands of civilization, which attracted the attention of the intergalactic coalition of the Four Nation Hunters and of the Universal Magic Fairy, of the Universal Magic Heroes, and of the Universal Space Heroes, and of the Universal Defending Heroes, and of the Universal Heroes, as well as some members of the Universal Heroes and of the Four Nation Hunters and of the Light Hunters, who exactly agreed to literally take matters into their own hands and began utilizing their resources to stopping this threat. The battle waged on for until actually on May. It began on May. On May, it began to actually stop as the heroes were victorious on the 25th of May, as the forces of Powerface's forces were completely apprehended and taken into custody. Powerface remained literally on top of the airship fleet as he watched as all of his forces were defeated, and until he witnessed Warboy come on top of his airship fleet, literally appearing from a super limping jump, and literally stand on the airship fleet and told Powerface that this is exactly where it ends. Warboy waged on with Powerface as he battled Powerface, and Powerface seemed very thirsty and very, very happy that he has never battled a foe such as highly skilled as Warboy, that he seemed very surprised and shocked that Warboy is very skilled and that he's a member of the Universal Heroes, that this is the time he's been waiting for all these centuries and years. They battled on top of the airship fleet. Their powers even knocked the airship fleet off course, literally taking it straightly into the magical mountains of the sacred magical worlds, which were also quietly on close proximity to the known worlds of the sacred universe as well. The airship fleet landed on the rocky mountains, and the two forces of good and evil battled, literally battling amongst each other. Their super strength and powers were evenly matched like this, as the other heroes returned to aid and abet Warboy from fighting up against his toughest foe and adversary. Powerface realized that he was completely outmatched, and that his battle and his plans were literally ruined again. And this time, he conjured up a shadowy portal and he disappeared. He didn't say anything, he literally disappeared. Warboy exactly told the members of his team of heroes that they never fought a very skillful enemy such as Powerface, who is very hungry for destruction and for more power. They've never fought a deadly threat like that ever before. One Phoenician hunter told Warboy that they've actually fought a threat like this before during the great centuries of the war, and that it's time that they actually told the Universal Heroes the full story of Powerface and of his followers, and of his great descendants, of his followers and of his great descendants as well. On the actual 26th of June, Powerface was able to exactly attend a video audience with the members of Sacred Five, as he began to tell them that they were all correct, and they were all quietly correct, and right, that the heroes are powerful and also resilient, and that he has learned the hard way that he can never underestimate their abilities. Regardless of that, Icewall exactly told his comrade that the members of the organization share his concerns, and that they're willing to proceed on with the directive plan and goal in a different strategical way, which could be very beneficial. Even so, Water Queen exactly told Powerface, thanks to his actions, what he actually did benefit them very much greatly. as Paleface was quietly surprised due to the other members' shock of revelation, as she told Icewall and the other members that thanks to Paleface's great interference and great work of his planning, they actually did benefit a huge amount of worlds and sacred countries and cities under their influence now, even more greater than before. And thanks to his work, they've gained a lot of connections and attracted many powerful entities to join forces with them, which means they are now in control of the sacred criminal underworld thanks to his actions. Despite that, Paleface was very happy and very relieved. Now they can continue with their greatest plan and their long-term plan and goal in a very different strategical way. On the actual 29th of August, Paleface reconvened with his followers of his dark group, this time in a shadowy holographic holograms as well, in order to conceal their identities from the operatives as well. And the base was quietly in a very the base was quietly a dark cave that actually bears statues of monsters, of ancient monsters and creatures and beings that are quietly around the members who are actually in the dark holographic holograms. The other members of the group began telling Paleface that they are very impressed with these results and very impressed with his determination. That in doing so, they managed to score many worlds and many countries and place them under their influence as well. Regardless of that, Paleface exactly told the members and his associates that he is very quietly grateful for their long-term support and their loyalty to their goal and to their mission, which has made the organization's long-term goals and plan and of their future plans to successfully bear fruit. Regardless of that, he told the members that they have to stand down for now and wait for the right time to strike and attack again, as they all completely agreed now that they're facing a new advanced threat that they've never faced before, and that the Universal Heroes are one of the toughest and greatest adversaries that they've never confronted during their long-term life and experience as well, as they all completely began to agree on that. Despite that, the actual other member began to actually tell Paleface that they actually share his concerns and his greatest resorts, that the heroes are very powerful and are very dangerous. And Paleface was able to exactly tell them that he was able to confront one of the most powerful members of the Universal Heroes, known as Warboy, who is proven to be very powerful, and that he is his greatest obstacle, and that one way or another, when he fights with him or encounters him again, he will not show any mercy to him, as the other members seemed very pleased of that as well. Despite this, guys, Paleface is very powerful and very dangerous and very ancient. He's an ancient hybrid creature of two powerful species, Formation Hunter and vampires, due to them creating and experimenting on powerful genetic creatures. He's very powerful, sinister, and very ancient. He has the superpower of super strength, regenerative healing power, and the power of super speed, and the power of telepathic communication, the power of projecting a dark holographic hologram, the power of manipulating dark magic and dark matter at will, and the power of making his body go invisible, and the power of conjuring up a shadow dark portal from the very behind the scenes when he quietly leaves up, and the power of telekinesis, and the power of absorbing and extracting blood from other supernatural creatures and DNA as well. He's a super strategist and a super tactician, a shadowy figure of a shadowy criminal figure. He has a very powerful dark ambition and a dark desire to rule all worlds and planets and civilization. He heavily believes in the organization's goals and its mission, such as Sacred Five's goals, such as the organization's goals known as Sacred Five's goals and mission to conquer and placing and destroying other worlds. He heavily believes in the organization's goals and is willing to see through them, and is willing to make sure that they actually bear fruit in the long-term course of his plans as well. Due to him living longer and able to gain greater immortality, able to gain more greater immortality and long gravity, he's very well organized, well prepared and well organized, and very well strategic and very well planned. He's never dealt with any foe or anything that might surprise him, and he was quietly amazed and surprised when he fought up against Warboy, who is a high-ranking member of the Universal Heroes, and stated to him that he has never fought someone as powerful as him during his long-term life, during his long-term course of his life. And he was very quite surprised as that he actually agreed with the other members of the organization that the Universal Heroes are, after all, powerful members of superheroes who can never be underestimated, due to him witnessing the determination of their own, due to him witnessing their power and them working together and the resilience, working together and trying to take down his army and his fleet. He was able to witness it. He was able to witness it for himself. And due to that, he was able to gain a very different perspectivity and a lesson. And he was always able to learn from his failures, to never repeat them, and to also to take a different directive approach in a different way, than rather to make sure that his plans successfully bear fruit as well. He has a huge army of dark, powerful warriors, of dark, powerful supernatural warriors, of vampires and wolves and druids, witches and faithful under his sole control, who completely believe in his goal. He has a huge army of battle cruisers, airship fleet, hot air balloons under his sole control as well, which he's able to utilize whenever he sees fit. He's very good in maintaining his usual bases of operations, as such as his central headquarters, which is a very powerful, which is a very different shadowy island of a cave where he houses all his ancient experiments and all of that, where he can literally conduct them and focus his entire attention on that as well. Despite that, he's a leader of another powerful dark group which he was able to form during his ancient life, of these other dark experiments who also began to believe in him and saw him as a leader figure, as a leader figure, and he also leads them with great authority and with great power. Despite that, this group is quietly led by Powerface, and Powerface leads it with great authority and with great respect, as the members of the group also believe in him and also see through his divine power. As they see through his divine power due to his monstrous appearances, they actually began to respect him due to his driven divine power. He bears an infinite amount of power and an infinite amount of power of energy through his body as well. And he's a very good powerful studying ancient creature that studies ancient texts and knowledges on ancient creatures through his central headquarters of his base of operation within the island cave that he's quietly actually able to maintain the actually powerful ancient geographical paintings of dark druids and dark witches and vampires and creatures, creating and binding their hands all together with another child of destiny, which I was able to tell you about, the children of destiny, who is in the middle, and they were able to exactly synchronize their power in creating a powerful genetic evil creature or being who can literally end the war, or either create unstoppable destruction or create an uncatastrophic event that could change the rest of sacred history forever. Powerface took it upon himself to study that ancient painting and all the other ancient paintings and statues of that cave, and any other caves and any other ancient statues of any other ancient ancestral creatures and beings that actually came before them, all of them completely, and he literally studied them. And in doing so, he was able to gain better, powerful techniques, greater, powerful, darker techniques of neutralizing his opponents and his enemies one way or another. He's very good in forming formidable allies, in forming formidable ancient alliances with powerful super criminals and deadly evil warlords and deadly evil shadowy criminals, and also shadowy groups of criminals as well, and shadowy groups of dark witches and dark vampire groups who also want to aid him and abet him with their long-term plans and goal as well. He's very ambitious, dark desire and a dark ambition, believes himself to be the sole ruler of the sacred universe and of the sacred world, and is willing to make sure that dream and that goal successfully bears fruit. Due to his goal and his philosophy, has attracted many shadowy dark followers to believe in him and to follow him regardlessly of what the others say. They will continue to do so, and he literally guides his proteges and he teaches his proteges how to battle and how to fight in hand-to-hand combat. He's very good in dark hand-to-hand combat, in swordsmanship, and also in a power of superhuman ability, which was able to gain, and also in vulnerability as well. And he's also gained the power of immunity as well. and again the power of summoning and the power of conjuring and the power of summoning dark monsters and creatures, and also very good with with conjuring a powerful magical contract that binds the person that actually signed with him in order to seal up the agreement and the deal as well. And he's very well, good and clever and very well crafty, manipulative and very intelligent. So intelligent and so well versed in sacred history's greatest, powerful, prominent individuals that he was able to manipulate them through the course of his life, which in doing so has attracted many unnecessary forces of criminals to his attention to join forces with him, since he can also see the evil and the darkness they all share and the sole common goal they all completely agree. He has learned the hard way that the universal hero's abilities and the universal founders, the universal magic hero's abilities can never be underestimated in thwarting his plans and his operation, as he learned it the hard way from himself as well. He's very charismatic and very dark and very evil. He literally does laugh, but not too often, but he's very, very, very dark. He bears a darker personality which shimmers his light. He doesn't actually often talk that much, but he does talk when he needs to. But he's very mysterious and very ancient and very crafty. There's an ancient statue of him in the very in a very different powerful magical crystal dark temples that are exactly meant for that are actually meant for the dark wizards and dark wizards and dark druids and dark wizards and dark druids and dark witches and dark fairies, that they also believe that Power Face is a godlike figure, a godlike monk figure, and they all know to fear him. And to do that, and as well through the other Formation Hunters and Light Hunters, they have managed to erase his name from Sacred History's books, because they've learned the hard way from their first encounter with him that he's too powerful and that he's too deadly and very well driven in his mission and his ancient imagination. Powerface believes in the old ways, guys. He literally believes in the old ways that he's meant to rule the entire sacred world and the rest of the sacred universe, and placing it under his sole control. The way he's so reversed in the old ways, and in the old ways that the old masters of the sacred universe were able to exactly try to control it and willing it. He totally believes in it so much that he's managed to gather and get the attention of deadly, mysterious, powerful, shadowy associates and evil warlords and commanders who also believe in the new ways. But to do that as well, he's managed to learn of a way to adapt and evolve into the sacred modern ways as well, which he can also combine with these long experiences and expertise due to his long gravity and due to his patient, due to him being impatient, and due to him also being sometimes being impatient as well. He can also orchestrate and manipulate events to his advantages. He's extremely immortal, reluctant, very persistent, very controlling of his anger, relishes when he fights his enemies and his greatest obstacle, such as Warboy, which is never fought, and he learns that Warboy is his greatest top enemy and greatest powerful enemy, and that one way or another he and him will fight to the end until they soon exactly confront each other on the next encounter, as well as he learned from that the hard way. Very well organized and very well prepared in the arts of deception, skillful in manipulation, in greater influence. And thanks to his influence and to his long gravity, many prominent evil leaders of sacred urban villages and countries have begun to place their worlds and civilizations and nations under the sole control of Powerface's group, or Powerface's dark group of forces, and to his influence as well, which also in a process grants Sacred Five, the shadowy criminal organization, more control of more worlds and of more sacred countries and nations that will actually be secretly be placed under their sole control as well in the process. He's very good in convincing powerful associates such as the Shadow Empire warlords and commanders, literally in convincing them to join forces with them, and the others began to actually become associates to Powerface and to his sinister shadowy group by utilizing their technology and their resources together, and by also working together as a group of evil forces. Regardless of that, he's very powerful, very ancient in his ways, and very, very charismatic and very dark, evil, conniving, cunning, very full of full of nothing but power. He loves power, but he's willing to use it the right way, and he's willing to utilize it the very right way, so much that he's also literally acquired the dark magic users expertise and the dark magical scientific expertise and knowledge, so he can also hack and crack the secret forbidden techniques of controlling light energy and light style power and shadow energy and shadow techniques and shadowy techniques of using fire energy and water energy, and of earth energy, wooden energy, stone energy, power energy, dark energy as well, all reversed to be under his sole control, which these abilities are well reversed to him. Well, guys, that's it for today's episode. I'll see you on Monday. I'll upload this episode today for those of you, and shorts, you will receive the shorts today as well. For those of you who are actually subscribing and actually beginning to follow, I am grateful for your support, and from all of you as well who are viewing and watching, totally grateful as well. May you have a blessed weekend and a great weekend. I'll actually see you on Monday. Take care and enjoy yourself, and love you all, and be safe. Totally grateful, guys. Literally grateful from the bottom of my heart. Totally. Enjoy your evening and your afternoon. See you on Monday.